Good evening and welcome once again to this episode of the Fighting Carrier. Please follow, like, and share the description. My name is Deshaun Bradley. Work out here in the Nebraska area, branch number 5, and yeah, another exciting episode for you. Well, I think it's intriguing. As you can tell from the title of this, I'm going to talk about the Canadian Postal Union and how they fight for their members, and they seem to always win when it comes to their members, even despite the Canadian Post saying they're running out of money and they're losing money. Is there anything that the NALC can learn from the Canadian Post Office as well as all of the postal unions? There's one thing in particular, and they can probably all learn from the postal unions up there in Canada. But we're going to get into that momentarily. But like I said, I just want to welcome everyone present here tonight. Again, this is The Fighting Carrier. I am Deshaun Bradley. Please, like I said, like, follow, share. Find me on Facebook as well. Same title, The Fighting Carrier. It's all bases. There's a group there. Certain questions you got to answer in order to get in. If you don't answer those questions, I'm not going to approve entering that group. So just follow the rules there. That's it. Just follow the rules. Just 2 questions, I believe. Just want to follow those rules. So, all right. So let's get started with what I want to talk about tonight. As you know, our contract for city letter carriers expired May 22nd or May 23rd, something like that. And we're now at the mandatory waiting period now, the 60-day waiting period. And so we got to go through this mediation period, and then the union and post office, they're still going to continue to negotiate, try to figure out some kind of impasse to overcome these issues. And it's interesting that the latest Renfro update that he did, was it last Sunday or Sunday before? He didn't mention any financials at all. He talked a lot about the local or the MOUs they want to try to add to JCAM and things of that nature. Some of which was fine. You know, I like some of the things that were mentioned, like was it a 12-week child care for new births? You know, that was something that was interesting, as well as trying to figure out some way to overcome the uniform issue. Of course, I got my own ideas. I mean, I would like to see the USPS and NALC outsource the bidding process to local manufacturers, let them bid on making postal clothes, and who knows, maybe find someone that's even better than what we have now, because the quality of our clothing does not last long anyway. Have a bidding cycle, have companies throughout the United States compete. I have several. It'll open up several contracts, so that would then not warrant to monopolizing of the uniform process, because we know our shorts and pants and shirts, you know, they have like we're paying for Gucci or Dior or something. The way they charge prices with these, and our postal shoes. Now I have an idea when it comes to the shoes. I mean, you know, you don't need those green tag shoes. Just any shoes that you can find that are black, that are water resistant, have good tread, that you can get from Shoe Carnival or somewhere. You use your uniform card and boom, buy the shoes there. It shouldn't have to be in like these $200 shoes that last 2 months. You know, that's ridiculous, the wear and tear on the shoes. But no, I digress. So there's some things in the JCAM that they're trying to update with that. So now we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But like I said, it was interesting that there was no talk of any financials, no talk of money changing hands. It was just all about just these different things. And it's interesting when you think about that throughout the years of these negotiations, and they don't really ever mention pay raises. The only thing they say, they're very vague, and I've noticed the same talking point between the CLC members as well as Mr. Cariff. Now, they always say, well, we want to have fair wages, but can you define fair wages? Can you put a percentage on fair wages? What can you do? And that's the type of leadership that we don't have right now. Even the guys running for president, they're vague. There's no tangibles really written down. It's all just platitudes, like campaign slogans. That's what it is when it comes to these guys. Now I know if I decide to run, I'm going to give you tangibles. What I'm going to fight for. It's going to be step by step. It's going to be laid down. You're going to know exactly what I'm trying to fight for and what I'm going to negotiate on. And one of the things I like about when we talk about the union there in Canada is how they managed to get these raises, despite the fact that the post office up there is complaining they run out of money. Blah blah blah. We hear the same argument all the time. That's the same thing they do. It's like the Canadian Post Office, U.S. PS. They all have their talking points when it comes to contract time. It's amazing when it's time to renegotiate. Like many companies. Oh, we run out of money now. We're broke. We can't pay you. We're not going. It's always that around contract time, and none of us are blind to that. We all see what happens there if you're paying attention. I did see Mr. Cariff do a man on the street type interview with some carriers, and some of the carriers have no clue, and so that's a problem. So we really need to try to encourage our carriers to look into sites like this, the Fighting Carrier or other groups, just so they can at least have an idea of what's going on. Because I know even with the regular memberships too, the monthly meetings at the union hall, not a lot of people show up either. So in a city of thousands of carriers, when you only get like 30 or 40 people to attend a meeting each month, that can be a problem. But it is what it is. So, but we're going to get into this. Can NALC and other postal unions learn anything about the Canadian Postal Union? So, I'm going to get started into this first article. I'm going to take you back though, because they just had another contract negotiation that they won. That the union's memberships agreed upon, and they ratified it. It was like an 86% approval rate, even though their union leader was voting against it because they said that there's some things they're taking some rights away. But the biggest thing we are thinking about is the money. I mean, the post office can take things away from me, but I can tolerate BS more so with fat pockets. You pay me $100,000 a year, I can deal with the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I'm grown. I go to the gym or something if I need a stress relief, or I come on read a book, or I come on hit the grill up and be with the family and say, hey, bad day, but I got my smoker out here, get the barbecue going. Yeah, I can do a lot better with money in my pocket. So I can see why the union leader may have said that, but I'm sorry, when it comes to the pocketbooks, that's what people care about right now. Other things can kind of slide a little bit, not too much though. But I understand that. But I'm going to take you back to the previous contract negotiations that were from 2024, and they expired in 2026, I believe, or it could be just a little bit before that. But I'm taking you back to that one. Then I'm going to take you to the current one that they just got done, and you're going to notice some similarities with the two. And then I'm going to talk about our NALC, how we get our treatments, how we get paid and stuff, and how our union leadership from the top down to the bottom, and even our current candidates who are running, they talk a big game, but like I said, I'm not hearing a bunch of tangibles. I'm not hearing a lot of what we're going to specifically fight for you as the carrier. So that's what I like to hear. I don't like platitudes and speech. I like XYZ ABC. Point. What are you fighting for? What are you doing for us? That's what I like to see. So let's get started with this. Let's get started with this article here. So let me go here. All right. You see here, Canada Post and its second largest union reached an agreement. Now, this was posted back in June 19th, 2025. So this is a last year article. Okay. It says in a possible sign of progress for ongoing labor negotiations for workers at Canada Post, the Crown Corporation says it has reached an agreement with the second largest union after 18 months of negotiating. In a written statement sent to the Global News, Canada Post says that the Canadian Postmasters and Assistant Association has agreed to terms of a new collective agreement, which spans January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2026. So, this CPA represents more than 8,500 employees, making it Canada's Post's second largest bargaining unit, and its members are primarily responsible for managing post offices in rural Canada, according to Canada Post. Now, here's one of these things. Notice this. This agreement includes an 11% wage increase over 3 years, retroactive to January 1st, 2024. Think about that. 11% wage increase. And yet here at the NALC, what do we get? We get 1.2, 1.3%. Wow. And then that goes throughout the year. So we say that over the year. So 1.3%, 1.3%, 1.3% over the years of our contract. What is that? That is what? The 1.369. No, it's on 3.9% increase over the years. Really? That's all it's worth? It's just 3%? Less than 4%? The last time we had a meaningful raise, I think it went from like 5 up to 5%. And that's like the most I've seen. It could be more. I'm going to do some more research into all of our contracts and see. But I don't believe any postal contract, any NALC agreement, I don't think any wage increase has ever been over 2%. 2% at a time. Now, I'm not talking about all years. I'm talking about just 2%. Like I said, we get ours is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3% over 3 years. But I believe back in the 70s with the Vince Sombrado negotiation, they gave the carriers 5% back in that time. So, and it's pitiful that here we are the United States of America, supposed to be the number one world superpower in the world, and all that, supposed to be American this, American that, and yet the American workers are treated like serfs, treated like peasants there. And so we see here how in Canada they can easily get that 11% increase in pay for their workers there. And it's really unbelievable how they're able to do that. Let's see here. So that was some of the keys with that. And this one represented the post office managers and assistants here with that. Let's go back to some of the carriers there, because there was actually one site that I saw is actually affecting the carriers. So let me see if I can find that one. But regardless, I mean, even our postmasters, even our managers at the post office, they get higher increases in pay and wages, and yet for us, nothing. They just want to give us pennies, and yet we're the face of the post office. We do the work. So let's see here. Let me see this one. The final agreement we get, much of the year, personally. I'm just looking up something because I was trying to find an article ahead of time before this. I think they had a strike, or they were about to strike, but I thought that got ended with an agreement before that. Let me see here. Like I said, it could have been just that. Could have been just that with the managers there. But I do remember seeing. 'Cause I had the article before. So I talked about this a couple years ago on this show too, when we were going through our last contract negotiations, and it was amazing how um, they were able to negotiate high wages, and yet our union was just trying to give us pennies. So I remember discussing this article before, and I wish I had it up here now. Wish I can find it, but it's back. It goes way back to then. So excuse me. But yeah, they did have a strike in 2024 up in Canada, and it happened during Black Friday up there. So that had a big impact. So the strike negatively impacted Black Friday sales. Small business unable to ship orders during their peak season. That strike cost medium-sized and small business about $1.6 billion by December 13th, and so they were able to strike back then, and that's one thing that we cannot do. Actually, we can do it if we really wanted to. I mean, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna fire all of us? No. They want to, but no. But I think the fear would be if we were to do a walkout or something, then that'd just be their opportunity to swoop in and try to privatize it. But even then, you couldn't do it because the Constitution and because Congress is our boss. It would take an act of Congress to actually privatize us. Or Article 2 can't do it. The executive cannot privatize the post office like Trump and the other administration. They want to do it. And it's not just Trump. Both sides want to do it. And it doesn't matter. Like I said, I don't trust any politician. It is what it is. I just don't trust them. I have no faith. But that was just one with that. How they were able to negotiate 11% with that. That's the second largest union there. With regard to that, the managers and things. Now let's go right now to the workers, our people, all right? The ones who are on the ground, the ones who work in all the elements, the ones who have to deal with the dogs and the animals and the people face to face in the street. let's deal with us right there first. Let's go back to this article here. And if you notice here carefully, it says Canada Post workers ratify contracts averting strikes amid $5.4 billion in loss, threatening service sustainability. Okay. And this is what I want to talk about today because this is a good one. It says postal workers across Canada, and this is dated because they just ratified this about 7 days ago, 6 or 7 days ago. But this is dated Monday, June 1st, 2026. Okay. So postal workers across Canada have overwhelmingly voted to accept new tentative contracts, avoiding the possibility of new postal strikes through January 2029. All right. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers announced 85.9% of rural and suburban mail carriers voted in favor of new contracts, and 89% of urban workers also support the deals. So that's a huge number who supported it. So the contract vote ends more than 2 years of labor uncertainty, including 2 nationwide strikes and rotating strikes. Here's the key. This is what we want to get into. An estimated 53,000 members voted for the 5-year contract. Offers that include wage increases of, notice this, 6.5% in year 1 of the contract. And that includes 5% already received. So they've already got 5% already received. And now they got another 11%. 11% raises in the first year. How is that possible? Let me get back on screen. How was that possible? You see that? Do you see how in Canada they're able to negotiate 6.5% increases, 5% increase? They already had the 5%, Now they got a 6.5% on top of that. So 11.5% increase in pay. And we'll be fortunate if we get 1.1% year one. Now, how pathetic is that? This is it is truly pathetic. You see the article there. I showed you the article. Or if it didn't display, I will list it. I will read it later. But or you can Google it yourself. The Canadian Post Office strike deal, whatever. You can look it up too. As I'm still trying to figure out all this displaying stuff. One day I get it right. maybe I ask my 11-year-old daughter to help me with this stuff. She could probably figure it out. But anyway, I digress from that. But you see how in Canada they gave them 6.5% increase over year one. Now here's the kicker. Let's go back to this article. Here's something interesting too when you go through this. In year two, they get a 3% increase in year two. We get 3% increase over a 3-year period. We get 1% a year. And notice here, and raises in years 3, 4, and 5. Notice this will match the annual inflation rate of the consumer price index. It will match, and this is what I'm talking about right here. One of my last shows I did, I talked about this when I was asking for responses from the CLC, which they have a horrible job of responding to people. They never respond. You know, you got to be a part of the exclusive club in order to get a response. But at least Mr. Mike Cariff, he responded to me. But I did a show a few weeks ago talking about the wages and talking about what I would do, what I would fight for. And I would say, look, if our inflation rate, if they say it's at 7%, then our raises during the year should meet 7%. Our wages should meet or exceed the inflation rate. There's no reason why any carrier should be out there struggling. None of us should be struggling. We should all have livable wages, and that's what it is. Our wages should be above that of inflation. That's what I would fight for. That's what I advocate for. And I don't care what the post office says. As the union guy, my job is to take care of you people, my postal blues. That is my job. I don't care where they get the money from. It's up to them. If they have to make some executive decisions and reduce some of the roles of management, so be it. If that means they have to start honoring the JCAM and not violating contracts in order to bring some billions back into the fold, millions and billions, so be it. Do what they got to do. And if that means increasing postages and other shipping rates, do what you got to do. But you're going to pay us as carriers. You're going to pay me. And that's what I will fight for if I was the leader. And like I said, our wages, if there's inflation involved, our wages should meet or exceed that year's inflation rate. There's no reason for us to be struggling. Carriers living under cars, carriers having to get on assistance. If you got to get on it, do what you got to do. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. Not a big deal. But it shouldn't be the case. We should be able to have a livable wage with money left over. After you pay your bills, you should be able to go to your pocket and say, you know what? Yeah, I still got $1,500 left. I'm cool. I still got some money left over. Let's go to the amusement park. Let's go grill some steaks. Let's go to a ball game or something. You should have some money left over to be able to let's go see a new He-Man movie. You should have some money left over, and that's what I'm not really hearing a union talk about. The CLC, definitely hear Renfro. They, like I said, they had their talking points as always. Nothing tangible, just platitudes, just so they can seek a vote to be elected for office. All right, let's see here. So, those are, the wages, those are the key points there. raises in years 3, 4, and 5 that will match the annual inflation rate, consumer price index there. Let's see here. And this is interesting too because the Canadian Post Office, they're talking about losses, $205 million in losses, as you're going to reinforce. But it's always the same thing with all these guys. When it comes to contract negotiations, here comes the sob stories that we're losing money, blah, 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 blah. We're going broke at the post office. Nothing we can do. Nada. And here's the other thing, too, why they were able to get these monetary increases is because there were 2 nationwide strikes since 2023. Rotating strikes across Canada. There's a strike again, I mentioned earlier, during 2024 holiday season. And it was paused after the federal government asked the Canadian Industrial Relations Board to intervene. And then the strike resumed in September 2025. So they were able to strike. Now here's something that we can probably do. I don't know why we couldn't. All of us as carriers, if you're regulars, you accumulate sick leave, right? So why not? Don't call it a strike. Just have a 1 day, 1 or 2 day, or everyone who's not in the PDI have a letter of warning on a suspension or anything. All the carriers who are good to go, no discipline on their record, and just everybody just choose this day and just do a 3-day call out nationwide. And if you get 100,000 carriers who do that all across the United States, yeah, that may get some things moving. That may get the ball rolling a little bit with regard to good wages there, because we know they don't want to pay us anything. And our leadership, Renfro, I mean, he's a joke and a half. He's a Rolando flunk, and I really cannot stand Renfro. I really cannot. I have a hard time with Rolando and Renfro because of that. But what can the NALC learn? Well, they can learn to have some backbone from the Canadian Postal Union up there. Learn to say, hey, I don't care about your finances. It's up to you to pay us. Here's my proposal. This is what it is. It's non-negotiable. So, and, you have in your head a high end. Have a high end, but you already know you're going to accept something like right there in the middle. You know what I mean? But you go with the most outrageous. That's how you negotiate. You go with the most outrageous thing you can think of. They're going to come in at the low ball, and then you're going to get it to where you need it to, right there at the middle, where you were going for anyway. And that's how you negotiate. But the NALC and other postal unions, they would have a lot of sway. Excuse me, if we were all to come together under one umbrella. You think about the power behind that. Think about what could happen if rural side and city side came together under one union. Some of the perks I would like from the rural side is, occasionally you don't have to wear these postal blues all the time. Go out there, like if it's like a Saturday. It's a Saturday. It's college football season. Go out there with your favorite college team on or something. Have a casual day, just like the rules do. They can wear whatever they want for the most part. I don't like the evaluation though. Just give me my hours out there. Again, let me do what I gotta do. Don't give me any evaluation, but just think the powers, and you have, instead of having multiple unions they got to try to negotiate with, now you got one powerful force. APWU, come on in too. Let's negotiate for our clerks and other mail handlers, whoever else is on the umbrella at APWU. We all come together and else under one umbrella. Excuse me. But even if not, even if you couldn't do that, what I would do in the union if I was president, I would I would keep all the union leaders, um, and we'd come together in a meeting, and we would just sit down together and propose. Here are things that we are going to stand firm on. All four, five, whatever, however many unions we have. This is what we're going to stick to. We're going to firmly stick to these points right here. So when we go into negotiation, all of us are on the same page to do what we got to do for our people. Yeah, come in united. Even if you have different time structures for the um for your group's negotiations, we will come in as one with that. Now those are things you can learn from. You can work together because we saw that in Canada. It was rural and urban carriers together. They're together as one. So and that's why they were able to get this 11%. The 6.5 and 5% already. They're able to get these percentages because they are a strong unit. They are united together. See, if we can do the same thing like that, think about the power that we would have. So this is something that the union could learn from. They could learn to just combine their forces there. Now, I guarantee me saying combine those forces, you're gonna have rural carriers, city carriers. Everybody saying, nah, I'm not gonna do that. You know, because I can understand rural side, but they look at the carriers and say, "Hey, man, you guys are managed to death. I'm not gonna be part of y'all," and I don't blame them, not one lick, because we are micromanaged. There's way too much micromanagement with the post office. From the time we clock in to the time we clock out, it's micromanagement. Micromanagement. What are you doing? What's taking you so long? Da da da. Just leave me alone. Let me go do my job. But I can see that. But these are things that you have to try to work through. You got to teach people to get out of your emotions, get out of your feelings, and understand that you united. You know, we're very strong. But the post office has done a good job of dividing. NALC has done a good job of dividing us too. Um, I do remember just the divide between table 1 and table 2 carriers. By creating that scale, they've divided the carriers, so everyone is split now. So now we're not even united as city carriers because you got the table 1 people, they get the perks. The CCAs get the perks, but the people in the middle, us, the rest of us, are left out in the cold because we see they do a lot of things for our CCAs and our top pay carriers, but the middle is kind of hollow. They don't really do much for the middle carriers at all, and that's what I've observed. And so because of this started with Orlando. Orlando was the king of this division, and Renfro is just following suit to where everything's just divided right now between that. But you gotta bring people together, get the emotions out, bring people together, and what we really need to do is what I would do in a union, because I know carriers miss the monthly meetings. What I would do is I would send representatives to each post office, once a month, and just talk to the carriers. Come in with the carriers, come into different offices, go in there. I'll do something with the USPS, whatever. Figure out a way to send some carriers, some spokesmen, some representatives, and just let people know that this is what's taking place right now. We have a 2-tier table pay scale, and we're trying to get everyone to be to this table 1 pay scale that we have right now. It makes no sense that we have other carriers struggling, and just let the carriers be informed, because a lot of them, like I said, they're not going to the meetings. But just make it so where they can go by, talk to the carriers, and then try to get some feedback from the carriers from that particular office or whatever, and versus having everything just sent out globally like this. But that's what I would do. Just changing the way we do things and to make it more, I don't know, more warm, more open, to where people can feel like they're a part of something. They're part of a community. What I would do too is I will put together like a couple of events per year for NALC members. Hey, get some ball tickets, baseball tickets. I don't know, or if you want to go try to work with some I don't know, some kind of deal with the stadium. Say, hey, I would like to bring my carriers out here one of these days to one of these events. It's a ball game. Can you offer us some kind of discounted rate on tickets for us? And we fill these stadiums up. We have our NALC or whatever shirts on it, and we'll just make it a day. Or try to have some kind of I don't know, some kind of summer barbecue or something. Somewhere and invite people out. I don't know. Just something, just things to do in order to make people feel as if they are actually a part of a union and have your voices actually heard, so that people can hear your voice. My face is so low. I gotta fix this camera. Ever since there's been some kind of update, and this camera has not done anything for me. So I gotta fix this camera, and I'm sorry about my face. If it's not where it should be at, if it seems to be too close to the screen or whatnot, I gotta fix this. I don't know how. Again, we'll figure it out one of these days. So, but yeah, so that's about all I have tonight with that. I just wish we had leadership that would follow the example of our Canadian postal workers up there. But I wish our current people who are running for office will be able to address these things and give us some tangibles and say something. But they don't. So, but all right. Well, I'm going to try to be back here tomorrow. There's no meeting tomorrow. My meeting was last week. So, but I will try to get back here tomorrow with another topic. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Interesting thing about my show is that I never know what I'm going to talk about. I don't. Not until I check what's going on in the postal world, or something were to come up at the job today. If there was like a idiotic stand up, or if I read or saw something stupid, then I'll bring it up. But yeah, this show, there's no script here. Everything is live. I'm just, working as I can, and I hope you forgive me for that, as I'm trying to get better each and every week with this. But, again, just forgive me. Doing the best I can with the budget I have, which is not much. I'm just a poor table 2 carrier. That's all I am right now, trying to make a difference in the little ways that I can. So, well, again, my name is Deshaun Bradley. This is the Fighting Carrier. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the weather. And again, please like, follow, share with your friends. And then join me on Facebook. The Fighting Carrier is what it's called. You can sign up and join. Usually, I drop in there some blogs I've written, different news articles that I find that they're interesting, that are good reads, and other things doing there as well too. So, but I'm going to sign off now. Again, this is Deshaun Bradley, the Fighting Carrier. Until next time.